What is up, you beautiful people? How are you? Well, it was supposed to be my day off, but, you know, stuff happens and you react to it and you come on. And now, I've seen a lot of people getting ahead of themselves, getting a little bit arrogant, getting, oh, Liverpool are going to win the league. Relax now, calm down. I'm here tonight to... Well, no, I'm not. I'm here to brag. I definitely am. I'm here to brag. I'm here to be unbearable. And I'm here to just enjoy it. Drink it in. Soak it in. It is magnificent. Manchester City are capitulating. And I'm here for it. I've waited a long time for it. I'm going to enjoy every moment of it. Every bit of glorious karma that comes their way. I am here for it, my friends. So somebody said in the chat beforehand that the song was nothing short of dreadful. How dare you? That song is absolutely iconic and your taste needs to be worked on. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple of things for you tonight, right? Because we're going to go through what this means for the Premier League title race. We're going to go through what this means for Manchester City. We're going to go through what this might mean for Spurs and Arsenal. But most importantly, we're going to have some fun. And we're going to take some cheap shots because they're very much deserved. Did you guys hear the pain in Gary Neville's voice as he was commentating on that game for Sky? And 1 goal went in, and 2 goals went in, and 3 goals went in, and then 4 goals went in. That is now Manchester as a city 0, Spurs 7. So 3-0 at Old Trafford, 4-0 at the Etihad. I'm starting to like this Spurs team. So, ladies and gents, let's get cracking because there's a lot to get through tonight. Let me start off with some glorious super chats from you guys to kick us off, and then we'll get stuck into the sticking of the boot into Manchester City. Right, all aboard. HMS Pistol League. Don't you worry, mate. I got your HMS Pistol League. Don't you worry. You ready? There it is. There she is in all her glory. Look at her. Ready to set sail with Captain Craigo. All good to go. All aboard. And you know what? Like I've said all along, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get ahead of yourself. Don't be afraid to get excited. These are the days we live for as football fans. Because I tell you what, I wasn't expecting that win from Spurs. In fact, I thought they were going to be absolutely hammered. So I'm going to fly through as many of these super chats as I can because some of them are very similar, as you might see. TOTT2KZ1, how are you, sir? And yes, all aboard. I've got it though, don't worry. We've worked, prepared for tonight. We've got a few images that we think you guys might enjoy. Victor said, Sweet Caroline. Oh, good times never seem so good. Oh, mate, I'm here for it. Blue moon isn't rising, it is sinking, and I'm here for every minute of it. Chelsea are bigger competition than City now, said Keane Sheridan. Well, look, it's just glorious, isn't it? Everybody expected a reaction from those Manchester City players after that Pep Guardiola contract extension, and they got one. Just not the reaction that they wanted. The reaction that we very much wanted, though. So look, I get it. I get people are going to be saying, now, Craig, don't get ahead of yourself. But come on, this is what we're in it for. We've got to go do our job tomorrow, and I'm confident that we will, but that would be 8 points clear of Manchester City and still 9 points clear of Chelsea, 9 points clear of Arsenal. Can you smell that? City have shit the bed, said Charlie. So, we like to get scientific sometimes here on the channel, and we've seen something today that made sense to us. Would you like me to share the thing that I seen today that suddenly made everything make sense? Because you're probably like me. You're probably sitting around, scratching your head, trying to figure out how Manchester City ended up in this position. Don't worry. The boffins at Anfield Agenda have figured this out for you. Are you ready? Are you ready for the big reveal? Because this will explain everything. I need to know you're ready. I need some answers in the chat. I need to know you're ready. Because once you see this, there's no going back. Once you see this, you won't be able to forget it. You'll say to me, oh my God, Craig, how did we not see it? As long as you're ready, here we go. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? What are we saying? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You know, there you are. Pep Ten Hag. Simples. So what we figured out from this is, don't be dishing out contract extensions in Manchester for the managers. You know what I mean? There you go. You knew I'd come in highbrow, ready to go. No cheap shots. Oh, I'm going to leave that up for a while there because I think it's worth us just reflecting on and enjoying for a minute. PC Drap. Thank you, mate, for your membership with us. Appreciate you with us. 21 months now. Early days yet, but things are going very well. Well, mate, I've got an answer for you. Things will only get better. Will only get better. Yeah, it's going to get better. The gap's going to keep growing, and we're just going to keep, well, doing what we do, which is picking up the points. Pinch me, Craig. Woohoo! Said Finty Tin. Mate, I don't want to wake you up. I don't want any of us to wake up because life right now is pretty good, right? Hopefully Arna has some tips for Feyenoord. I know, there is a chance, there's a little chance, as Drawdy messaged me to remind me earlier on, that if they lost to Feyenoord, that we could be their 7th defeat. Now, you know I love the number 7. You know I want to wrestle back that number. And we did when we beat United. But if we were the 7th team in a row to beat Manchester City, well, that would be delicious, wouldn't it? Another one. Winky Wonky Donkey. And by the way, there's a name in the chat that I take some... I'm unhappy about. There's a username that said make Anfield Agenda great again. And I'm sorry, but I can't have that in the chat. Because we've never not been great. We've always been great, you know? So it's just keep Anfield Agenda great is what you should be doing. So right, Winky Wonky Donkey, and I could say that name forever, bro. So just come in from the annual Christmas pub drinks with the in-laws. And seeing that you were live, New City had lost. This result has got me feeling extremely kinky. Well, mate, I went through different levels of nakedness as these goals went in today, you know. Started off with the Mankini, and very quickly, by the time it was 4, it was down to me skeleton. You know what I mean? So, yes. So it's, you know that we don't overreact on here. You know, we keep things sensible and realistic. So, look, I don't actually have any news for you. You know, I don't have anything to come on here tonight and talk about. We can talk about the game, but I just thought, you know, the Christmas season's officially started now. And, yeah, the wheels are coming off. Because you could see it. Did you see Guardiola on the sidelines? Oh, did you see it? Oh, the little spit merchant that he is. What, by the way, is Pep Guardiola in a constant state of dehydration? Because every spit that he has is that foamy little spit that you have when you've nothing left. So maybe Pep Guardiola needs to get on the old Volvic because, you know, he can't even produce the spit properly these days. Patrick said, what a beautiful day. Indeed it is. Patrick, my friend, indeed it is. And thank you for your super chat, bro. Also, you might see pinned to the top of the chat, there is a link to a Just Giving page, and we're trying to help Joe raise £5,500 to buy a wheelchair basketball chair. Joe is a youth worker who works with youth between the age of 15 and 24 and trying to just make the world a better place. And, you know, Joe's trying to raise that money and we thought we'd like to help out. So if you were maybe thinking of sending a super chat, well, why not donate to Joe's Just Giving? And we're going to keep that up all the way through December as well. And we tried to get Joe that chair because, look, it's the festive season. Joe's one of our own. And he reached out to us and we want to just try our best to help Joe get that chair sorted. So we'll hopefully get there by the end of December. And Joe, if you're watching, mate, thank you for reaching out and keep doing the great work that you do. The last team to lift the Premier League title in front of an Anfield crowd was Blackburn in 1995. The last time they retained the league title was the mid-80s. Well, you're saying they got England out of Europe. Is it bitterness, Troy? Is that what it is, mate? Are you sitting at home now just angry? I get it, Troy. I can understand, mate. Keep it coming, though, because I'm pissing myself at you, mate. Honestly. I know you're trying to wind us up and all, but it's not funny. It's funny watching you squirm. It's funny watching you try to just find things to annoy us about, but you're not going to piss my cornflakes today, Troy. I'm just too happy, mate. What do you think about the game, and can City bounce back against us next week? Look, next week's next week. Who knows? They can't be any worse. But you know what? We will talk about City today, but I want to just say earlier on as well, give Spurs their credit. You know, it's very easy to just laugh at City, and we will. But give Spurs their credit, because that was an incredible performance. Those first couple of goals for Spurs, honestly, if we scored them, I'd be talking about them for months. So give Ange Postecoglou and Spurs their credit, because they had to bounce back as well. But they just love playing City. There's just something about Spurs and City that you never know. You never truly write them off, because anything's possible. I'm convinced you hate City more than United. Well, I do. I've never tried to hide it. I'll give you my stance, mate, very clearly. I dislike Manchester United from a sporting rivalry perspective. And I never want United to win anything. But I respect the club. I don't respect Manchester City. And I don't acknowledge any of their trophies. Because it's all caveated by these charges. And we all know, the whole football world knows, everybody knows, as much as they try to make it out like they haven't broken the rules, we know. And I can't respect that. I've always said, if we lost this league title to Arsenal, I'll be the first person on here to congratulate them. It will suck, it will hurt, but I'll sincerely show good sportsmanship and I'd come on and I'd congratulate them. But of course I hate City more than United. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't any football fan hate City more than United? You know? United at least are doing things within the rules. And, you know, I respect them. I want to beat them badly. I never want them to win anything, but I respect them. Same with Arsenal, same with other clubs. I don't respect people who piss all over the rules. Footy banter. Say, keep up the good work, Craig. Please ask the viewers who was better, Saliba or Ibu. Well, honestly, footy banter, I think at this point in time, Saliba's a great defender, no denying that. But right now, I think we have the best centre-back pairing in the league. At the moment, I'm not saying Arsenal haven't got a good pairing in Gabriel and Saliba, they have. But right now, I feel like we have the best centre-back pairing in the league. And that's testament to Virgil and Ibu, and of course the Arne Slot as well. Maybe let our massive nuts drag along. Yes, we may. You may. Let them out, mate. Let them breathe. They want to breathe. Craig, do you think Trent will be back? Look, actually, sorry. I'm going to go back to the City thing again, because I don't understand how anybody with common sense has any respect for this version of City. I don't. Honestly, and the newer City fans, I kind of understand it from them because, you know, maybe they're new to the sport. Maybe they jumped on board the gravy train. Fair enough. But the rest of the football world, whether you're a fan of Liverpool, Arsenal, United, whoever, nobody respects what this City team are. Nobody should respect what this City team are. Because they've stuck two fingers up, they've thrown a grenade into the Premier League, and they've basically tried to cause a civil war inside the league. I've no respect for that. And nor should anybody else. So yes, on days like today, when I've had to sit through 2 days of Sky Sports fluffing up Guardiola and telling us how great City and Guardiola are, on a day like today where they go out there and Pep was building up in the last few days saying everybody hates us and we don't care. Well, you're now irrelevant, Pep. 4-0 at home to Spurs. How's that for a reaction to your contract, asshole? Go on, Pep, you know. Tell it like it is, mate. Keep signing another one. Because I tell you one thing that won't get said enough, and it's absolutely true, and I don't care. This Manchester City team will be very, very competitive in National League North. Very competitive. They could be fighting for the title in National League North under Guardiola and this group of Manchester City stalwarts that they have there. So yeah, I do detest City because they stand for everything that I hate about football. Modern football, which is, you know. Do you still think City can win the league? No, not a chance. Look, do you look at that City team and think they can win the league? Genuinely. Like, this isn't us talking about City of 2-3 years ago. Go back to the start of this season. I've said it over and over again. This is not the same City. There's no fear factor in this group. Look, they're a good team. They'll pick up results. And they will recover from today. But they're not the same animal. As much as Sky Sports and others want them to be, they're not. So if you're an Arsenal fan, a Liverpool fan, a Chelsea fan, you should feel optimistic that right now you can feast. And as a Liverpool fan, yes, I'm very happy. We have a chance to go, 8 points clear of Manchester City tomorrow? 9 points clear of Arsenal with Manchester City to come to Anfield next week. So even if we lost that game, we'd still be 5 points clear of them, 6 points clear of Arsenal. I've played them both once. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right about now. And I'm feeling pretty vindicated right about now. Because remember, Arne Slot was going to come in and fail. Arne Slot was going to come in after Jurgen Klopp, and that shadow was going to be there. And, you know, everybody was almost saying from the outside, he won't be able to do it. Nobody will come in after Jurgen and be able to keep it going. Well, how's that feeling for you right now, huh? I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Do you think Trent will be back in time for Madrid? Not sure. I hope so. Obviously, we'll get more of an update from Arne midweek before the press conference for the Madrid game. But look, honestly, I've got every faith in Conor Bradley if he needs to step up. And this is a big week for us. You know, Real Madrid won't make or break our Champions League campaign, but we owe them one. So it'll be nice to get a result against them. But for me, all eyes are on St. Mary's tomorrow, and I'm not taking that game for granted. I've learned my lesson about thinking we're just going to stroll to victories when Forest beat us at Anfield. So we've got to go do our job tomorrow, go down to St. Mary's, get those points, make sure we bring that gap to 8, and then we can look ahead to next week where Guardiola, they're going to be a wounded animal. They're going to come, and we're going to have to try and shut them up early doors because that's what we need to do. Craig, if we can beat Real Madrid in Anfield on Wednesday, City are in deep shit. Look, for me, Real Madrid game's almost a free hit because Sunday is the game that I'm fixated on, Manchester City. That's the one. Get out of that game without a loss, and I don't see anybody catching us. Arsenal, at this moment in time, genuinely, Arsenal seem better placed to make a run at us than Manchester City. And the bookies think the same, by the way. If you're looking at the bookies odds right now, Liverpool 10-11 on to win the Premier League, Arsenal 3-1, Manchester City 7-2. So even the bookies and the money, people aren't believing it. You know, and even when I spoke to Dara McAnthony, Dara still expected the City to win it by 5 points. I've never understood this because they are not the same team. You take the best midfielder in the world out of any team and they're going to struggle. Throw into that an ageing De Bruyne who's picking up injuries. Kovacic out now for a few weeks as well. Haaland being hit and miss, and yes, scores in bunches, but, you know, today again, nowhere in a big game to be seen. And do you know what I really enjoyed seeing today? The Tin Pot City fans emptying out of the stadium. 82, 83 minutes, start emptying out. And it wasn't even full to begin with. So everything about today was just vindication for football. Football won today. And football will hopefully continue to win. Brain Bucket Tim Sherwood said after tonight's game that the league would still be wide open if we were to beat City next week. Just don't pay any attention to them, mate. If we beat City next week, that's 11 points. If we won tomorrow and beat City, we're 11 points clear of Manchester City. 11. Even if they went perfect for the remainder of the season and won, what would it be, 35 or 25 games on the trot, they're not catching us. If we go 11 points clear, they can forget about it. They start to be concerned with Champions League spots at that point. Because Arsenal are getting players back. You've seen the massive difference Odegaard made to them today. I thought Arsenal looked far more like themselves. They played some great football at times. And that was a team that could get it back. But not City. I just don't see it. I really don't. Am I wrong, by the way? I'm going to ask a question in the chat. And I want to see what you guys think. So bear with me. Right, one sec. I'm just writing something out and I can't do two things at once because I'm a moron. Okay. Right, so I'm going to ask a poll. Who will be our nearest title contenders? Manchester City, Arsenal or Chelsea? Vote away, my friends, vote away. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what everybody thinks, by the way. And opposition fans or fans of other clubs, please feel free. I'd love to get your vote in this poll as well. And welcome in, by the way. I know we've probably got fans of loads of different clubs coming in tonight as well as us. And any Arsenal fans in the chat, welcome in. Any City fans, how are you doing? Not great, I'd imagine. Don't sleep on Chelsea either. I haven't. They're on the list. You know, again, Chelsea are showing some mettle under Maresca. They look a far more solid unit than they were in previous seasons, and they've a cast of thousands as well. So look, I'm not sleeping on Chelsea one bit. You know, they're going to be able to navigate the Conference League fairly easy. They don't even have Palmer in their squad, so yeah, I'm not sleeping on them at all. I'm glad we actually played them and beat them at Anfield already. What does this say? Do not read the next sentence. You little rebel, I like you. Okay, well, thank you, Joe. I like you too. And welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Right, I'm very interested, by the way, to see how you guys vote in this poll, so do keep it coming. Corbin 2003, how are you, bro? Said, I still worry about City. Got my hopes up many times. So I get that, mate. Look, we have some PTSD around Manchester City and title races, but genuinely ask yourself this, mate, honestly. Do you think that this is the same Man City? Because I really, really don't. And look, think about it like this, right? Today was a big day for the Etihad. They were celebrating beforehand. Rodri came out with the Ballon d'Or, and congratulations to him on that, sincerely. I thought he was a deserving winner. Pep Guardiola signed his new contract. It was party time inside the Etihad, and the players couldn't respond to that. So on a day like today, where you've got one of your star players out there, you know, wandering around with his Ballon d'Or, Guardiola's new contract, and a really good feeling, they had to respond, and they were absolutely mauled by Spurs. So they just haven't got it in them anymore. This is the time Guardiola is going to have to rebuild that City team, because they'll be there or thereabouts, around third, second, fourth, but they're not going to push all the way. They haven't got it in them. They just don't. You know, this was, like, think if this was us, right? So, let's say 2 years ago, Klopp signed a new contract, Salah had won a Ballon d'Or. There's no way we're getting beaten 4-0 at home by Spurs, or anybody. It just wouldn't happen. And this wasn't a 4-0 beaten because there was a player sent off or anything. This was just an absolute exercise in counter-attacking football par excellence from fucking Spurs. It was, that first goal was truly remarkable. What a ball in from Kulusevski. What a finish from Maddison. Yeah. So, I get it. We're all scared from the past, but don't be. Because if we mess up, fair enough. And I'm not saying that we're going to continue on this unbelievable start. And I'm not saying that we won't have blips throughout the season. But I feel very confident in saying this is not the same Manchester City. Craig, this is serious. Are we going to see the nips if we win the league? Said Kieran Lorrigan. Well, mate, I'm a man of my word. So I would imagine, you know, it would only be fair of me to make sure that I'm on here fully ready for those title celebrations. So yes, I would say there's a fair chance the nips come out, mate. I'll make sure they're ready to go. Somebody said, Tilshin said, this is more than just Rodri. Exactly. There's something not right. And remember I said to you guys that no matter how much City profess that everything's great around the club, that they're very optimistic they'll beat the charges, that Guardiola's going to stay and sign a new deal, all of this is smoke and mirrors because they're human. And as the pressure ramps up from the charges situation, from the title race with Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea, they're human. And like we said about Jurgen, it is very, very difficult, even for the greatest, and Pep Guardiola is one of the greatest. You can only have those words so many times. You can only stir the troops so many times. The words start to lose meaning, start to lose impact. So, he's got a big job on his hands. to rebuild that. And we've got a big job on our hands to make sure that we put our foot in their throat and that we make sure that we go out there tomorrow and win the game. Mahmood, how are you, bro? Let me just get your comment up on screen. Said, remember when I told you about a spark? Well, it's currently happening, Craig. Life is great as a Red, WFM. Well, look, I would imagine it's not just Liverpool fans celebrating today. Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, you know, you guys in the chat, you've got to be celebrating as well, right? Because it's not just us that are looking at a wounded Manchester City. Chelsea won 2-1 today at Leicester. Arsenal had a convincing home win as well. So, I think today's a win for football. That's the way I look at it. If we win the league, can you eat broccoli? So, how about this for a deal? If there's any type of a double, I'll eat broccoli. If we win the league, well, nips will come out. How about that? I can't be any fairer than that. I feel like broccoli needs to be some type of a double, though. Everybody celebrating, mate, said Johnny Jaywick. Good man, Johnny, and damn right as well. So, for those of you who might be coming a little bit late, just a couple of images that I think summarise everything today. So, first of all, we've got this baby right here, which, you know, I hope you all enjoy, because I'm not wrong, am I? You know, and look, this isn't my image, by the way. I did not create this image. This is absolutely nabbed from our Discord group that somebody posted, but do you know what I mean? It's very, look. So, if you're joining us late, firstly, we've solved it. We figured it all out. Pep Hag is at it. Maybe we should go Pep versus the lettuce. I don't know. And then, of course, we've got this one. Just to make sure, you know. This is a bit of an inside joke, by the way, from our Discord group. But, yes, all aboard! All aboard! No counting chickens yet. Why? Why are we afraid? Yo, why are we afraid? I don't get it. I know we've got some wounds from previous seasons, but like I said, man, we should be celebrating these moments. We should be celebrating days like today. So, don't be afraid. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't happen for us, and what? We still enjoy these days, right? We still enjoy these moments. Some part of all of this is enjoying the journey, you know? Like I say all the time, if you can't, the end product's great, but the journey is what you look back on and have those funny nights, funny moments. So yeah, enjoy the journey, man. Enjoy it. And as, who was it? I think Simon Hughes wrote it in The Athletic as well. Liverpool shouldn't fear being favourites for the title. Not at all. This group of players has enough muscle memory in it to know what winning needs, to know what it takes to not take your eye off the ball. Arne Slot will be sniffing blood right now. He won't let these boys take their foot off the gas. And of course we'll drop points along the way. You know, it's football. That's going to happen. But God almighty, doesn't it feel great today? My soul is singing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm absolutely over the moon. Not a complaint, just curious. What's with the post about Trent on Twitter? So, hand on heart, mate, I'm being serious when I say this. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I keep saying this to people. I don't run any of the Anfield Agenda socials. I don't log in to any of the Anfield Agenda socials. I'm not on social media. So, truly, I have no idea what post you're talking about, mate. Yeah, there's a gentleman called Matt that runs our social media, so I have no idea what the post is. Right, let me get this super chat up. Hustle81, how are you? Said morning from Australia. Good to wake up this morning and see that the Spurs versus City result. You'll never walk alone. Yeah, it's great, mate. Do you know what's mad though? I want to ask you guys a question, and thank you, Hustle81. At what point did you feel confident Spurs were going to win? Because I was messaging Lee Gunner back and forth throughout the game. So 2-0 and me and Lee were like, I don't know, not confident yet. 3-0 and I said to Lee, right, what are we thinking now, Lee? 3-0? And he said, it is still Spurs, mate. So, you know. But when it got to like 60 minutes, 65 minutes, and it was still 3, yeah, that was the point at which I said, Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. I think, even at 2, I was thinking, well, I'll take a draw. Because I did expect a reaction from City, but it never came. So, yeah, I'm very happy. What's this from Mark? So, apparently the post was him and Madison wishing him a happy birthday or something to Trent. I don't know. People get so worked up about things. Oh, that's the post. I would imagine that's just him saying happy birthday or something. I don't know. Maybe he's having a little dig at City as well. And I hope he is. Because remember, when Trent said it means more to Liverpool to win stuff and then City won stuff and they love to moan at Trent about it. So I'd imagine that's just a bit of banter from Trent. So let me see. Alex said it was at 3-0. Sean, 85th minute. Sir Gemzol, 3-0 as well. At 2 for Liam. 3 for Irish Rebel. 3-0, 80 minutes for Troy. 3-0 for Nick. 87 minutes for Andrew Johnson. I don't know if that says more about our respect for what City can do on the pitch or it being Spurs. Yeah, I don't know which one it was for each and every one of you. It's probably a bit of both, to be fair. Ryan O'Driscoll, how are you, sir? He said, beautiful day today. Let's get the job done tomorrow and next Sunday. We've got no money, but we'll still win the league. The Reds have got no money, but we'll still win the league. Na 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 na. We don't need money though. Do you know what I mean? We don't need money. We'll just do it on vibes and fumes. It's great. Right, what a day. Even San Marino are mocking them. I know. Did you see that, by the way? San Marino. I think it was the official one. I hope it's the official one. Quoted Manchester City and said, can we play you next? Can we play you? When you're getting bantered by San Marino. Do you know what I mean? De Bruyne is over the hill as well. Exactly. If you take De Bruyne and Rodri out of a team, any team in the world, they're going to have an impact. And it was very clear at the end of last season that De Bruyne's days at the top were very limited. Injuries are becoming more frequent and Father Time is catching up with him. He's been an incredible footballer, Kevin De Bruyne. I would say it was a pleasure to watch him play, but he was in the City shirt. But as a football fan, the man can do it all. So yeah, taking him out, taking Rodri out, Kovacic being injured as well. You can't discount how big of an impact that would have had. But also, like I said at the start of the stream, give Spurs their credit. Because Spurs were phenomenal and played exceptional football. And yep, sometimes Vicario had to make some saves and sometimes Dragusin and others had to make some blocks back there. But I hope that this has convinced Real Madrid that Pedro Porro's the guy, by the way, because I absolutely agree with that. Remember yesterday we were saying to you guys that there was a report coming from Dario AS in Spain that said Real Madrid now are looking at Pedro Porro because they feel that he'd love to wear the white shirt of Real Madrid and that they're worried about Trent defensively. I agree. You should go after Pedro Porro, definitely. Trent's not for you, lads. He's not for you. Leave him where he is. Roosba, lovely to see you in, my friend. Said Arne Slot is a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Oh, yes. El Harvo said, just realised I misunderstood the post. Apologies. All good, mate. All good. I was being genuine when I said I'd no idea what you were talking about because I don't run the accounts. I don't see them. I don't even have the Twitter app on my phone, mate. So, yeah. Pizzo said, evening, Craig. I still think City are our nearest challengers by far. Honestly, mate, in a normal season, I would have agreed with you. But I don't think this City are the same animal. I just don't. Rodri's out for the whole campaign. Look, they're capable of putting together a good run. They're still, no mugs, don't get me wrong. But honestly, I don't see it the same way this year. Now, I think it's honestly probably Arsenal or Chelsea for me. But let's check in on the poll. Because we asked you guys, who will be our nearest title contenders? So the options are Manchester City, Arsenal and Chelsea. We've had 1,350 odd votes. We'll leave it running for a little bit longer because it is close between City and Arsenal. Chelsea third in the vote. So we'll leave that running. And no matter who you support, please do take a minute to vote on that if you can. Arne Slot's still not getting the credit. You know what's going to happen? All that's going to happen is when we win the league, they're just going to say, well, it was an off season. Like we did when we won it in the COVID time. They were like, oh, COVID season doesn't count. They'll always try to undermine any success that we have. And who cares? Let them undermine it. We'll just continue to remind everybody that Arne Slot's the real deal. And yeah, days like this. Now imagine if we back this up with a few contract extensions. That would be lovely. So, we've got 600 likes. We surely got to get 1,000 likes on tonight's stream, ladies and gentlemen, for City getting whooped 4-0 by Spurs. So just a reminder, while you're hitting that like button, it is currently Tottenham Hotspur 7, Manchester City 0. They went to Old Trafford and won 3-0, and then they went to the Etihad and won 4-0. So I guess we're going to have to show everybody how to take on Spurs when they come to Anfield. I think the media will now try to put pressure on Liverpool, not undermine them. They can do what they want, mate. They can do what they want. As long as our boys keep going out on the pitch and getting the results, they can put all the pressure on they want. They can do what they want. They can fluff United and City all they want. Fuck them. El Harvo said, am I stupid about being nervous about the game tomorrow? It's natural. It's natural. But let me just say this. We're fans. We're allowed to get ahead of ourselves. We're allowed to take our eye off the ball. We're allowed to dream. Professional footballers and athletes with coaches surrounding them, they won't be thinking the same way. They'll, of course, have taken notice of today's result. But they'll also want to make sure that they do go out there tomorrow, St. Mary's, and get the win. Because it's the Premier League. Anything can happen. So, yeah, we've still got to go do our jobs tomorrow. But Arne Slot will be telling them, you know, one game at a time. And the good thing for us is, Virgil, Alisson, Mo, these lads know. These lads know what it takes to win a league title. So they'll know it's 1 week at a time, one game at a time, one win at a time. But we don't have to think that way as fans. We can get ahead of ourselves. Ryan, let me get your comment up, mate. Ryan said, I think what's holding some back is the PTSD from so many close runs with City that we're almost afraid of them. Dream, people, dream. So do you remember the season we won the league, Ryan? We absolutely ran away with it. Like, won it at a canter. And I'm hoping we do something similar this season. But even we now just have some wiggle room, mate. Like, worst case scenario, right? We win tomorrow and we go, and let's say we are beaten at Anfield next week by Manchester City. It's still going to be 5 points clear of them at that point. And we're still going to be, again, 6 points clear of Arsenal, having played both of them once already. So I think we are just in a good place right now. And it is about building on this, but you couldn't but be optimistic right now. You shouldn't be anything but optimistic. You know, belief's not a dirty word. You know, winning becomes a habit. A nice habit. So yeah, dream. Don't be afraid to let it out. Don't be afraid to enjoy the journey. You know, we've won a league title. So if this was a season where, let's say, we still hadn't won a league title, I'd feel like the pressure will mount on us. But I don't think we have the same pressure. Arteta and Arsenal have massive pressure to win a league because the money that was spent, the 6-year reign of Arteta. Manchester City have pressure for other reasons from outside with the charges and, you know, the squad starting to pick up more injuries. For us, there isn't really that. There's never been an expectation that Arne Slot would come in and win it in his first year. So I feel like we're almost playing with a free hit at this point. 5 in a row. Only T2 in the Premier League. That worries me. I don't know what you mean by only T2 in the Prem. There'll be no 5 in a rows happening, mate. You don't need to worry about 5 in a rows. That won't be happening. Ryan said, I believe in Slot and this amazing team. Good. Good. You should believe. And your phone should be melting now from messaging all your mates, winding them up. The ones who don't support Liverpool. Right, we're up to 744 likes, so keep hitting that like button. Colin Blackshaw, mate, welcome back to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you. Do you think Brighton can get into Europe this season? Into Europe? Maybe. But I don't think they'll be pushing realistically for the Champions League spots. Well, maybe they can get in, depending on how the cup competitions go and how those places, maybe some of them come back into the league. So if we're talking 7th or 8th to get you into Europe, then yeah, I think Brighton have a very reasonable opportunity. And wow, what a start, by the way, their new managers had. How confident are you about Trent? I'm probably honestly still 50-50 on it. Yeah, I'm probably still 50-50. I mean, like I've said all the way through this, if this situation right now doesn't convince Trent that this club's still potentially winning some more trophies soon, and that this is the place where he should be playing his football, I don't know what else to say to him. So I hope he's looked at the Leverkusen result, the way that we've started the season, the way the teams around us are, how good the manager is. And I hope he thinks, yeah, I don't have a need to move anywhere else. I can achieve what I want to achieve here. Fingers crossed that's what he decides. Acapella said, Craig, should we expect to win the league now? Wouldn't be embarrassing to not win it from here. So, I'll say what I've said all week. If we don't lose to Manchester City at Anfield next week, that's it. In my mind, we're winning the league. If we beat Manchester City next week, that's it. We're winning the league. It's just my opinion. You know, everybody, of course, has their own belief system or their own moments where they feel like they can maybe start thinking along those lines. But if we beat them and we go 11 points clear of Manchester City, 11 points clear. Now, I know Arsenal and Chelsea are a different conversation, but we'd still be 9 clear of Arsenal if we won. You know, so a lot's going to come down to what happens over the next week. There's a way this title race becomes more condensed. But what we have to do, what we as the team have to do, is take it out of the damn hands of these referees and officials. We cannot be allowing anything next week. The appointment from the PGMOL for the game against Manchester City at Anfield next week is going to be one that I'm keeping a very close eye on. Because in years gone by, we were shafted. Odegaard, handball, shafted. Doku, kick and McAllister, shafted. So if we can keep it out of the referees' hands, I think we're going to be in good shape. Don't forget how we collapsed last season. And this is why I keep saying how important it is that we get that midfielder. Because right now, yes, we've had injuries. Yes, we have. But we're very blessed in the goalkeeping department that we've got a backup goalkeeper that's as good as any other keeper. And then we haven't had an injury to Virgil and Mohamed Salah. So that spine of the team with Ryan Gravenberch as well has maintained itself. So yeah, it's going to be really important that we make sure that we do everything we can to minimise those injuries, give the lads a rest where possible, rotate where possible, but also look to push on in the transfer market in January and bring in the midfielder that will give Arne Slot the ability to give Ryan a bit of a breather here and there. Oh, by the way, I have to say hello to somebody. I can't remember the young lady's name, but her dad, I read a comment yesterday. Dad's name is Jamie. So if you're watching, Jamie, you asked me to say hello to your young lady. I'm embarrassed to say I forgot the young lady's name at this moment, mate. But to Jamie, to yourself and your daughter, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. And I apologise sincerely that my dumb ass has forgotten the young lady's name, but hello to both of you. Somebody else there said, Craig, can you do me a favour and say hello to my best mate, John Core, who lives in Dungannon? Of course, absolute pleasure. John Core, how are you, mate? Not one of the famous Cores, are we? You know, if you are, say hello to Andrea for me. If you're not, well then hello anyway, mate. People need to respect Chelsea more. Well, I think we are, Mr. Bobby. Look at the list. I did ask, and I did include Chelsea on the list of who may be our nearest title contenders. So I certainly am respecting what they're doing this season. So yeah, but look, I still think I think Arsenal will be our nearest challengers, personally. We need to avoid complacency on Sunday when playing a lesser team. Absolutely. 100% agree with you. You don't get many easy games in the Prem. You've got to earn the right to win. So whether we're playing Southampton away or whether we're playing whoever, we need to make sure that we do the right things. We show up prepared to play. And I'm hoping that because we play on the Sunday and Aaron has maybe had an extra day for the boys to recover and to work with them after the international break, coupled with the fact that obviously Mo wasn't away, Virgil only played one game, I think we should be prepared. And I'm expecting a better start to the game than we've had after other international breaks. So I put out the revised preview today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. It's up there on the channel, but the starting 11 that I would go with tomorrow is Kelleher in goal, Bradley at right back, Costas at left back, Ibu and Virgil centre back. In midfield, Gravenberch, Jones and Szoboszlai, because I wouldn't be risking McAllister picking up that booking. And also the fact that McAllister usually struggles after an international break. Up top then I'd have Mohamed Salah on the right, Cody Gakpo on the left, because of course Lucho had a lot of travelling as well. And then through the centre, Darwin Núñez. And that's my 11 for the game tomorrow. I don't know what you guys think. Corbin 2003 said, "What are you doing if we win the treble?" Honestly, mate, I'm getting carried away with the league and I'm dreaming. But I'm honestly not thinking trebles or anything, quadruple, any of that type of stuff. I'm feeling confident where we're at in the league and the start we've had. But the Champions League and stuff like that, you know, cup competitions are always a bit of a lottery. You never know what way they're going to go. But you can see consistency of performance across the league. So I'm confident in that one. But you tell you what, those European places are looking open at the minute, you know. Chelsea currently in third spot, Arsenal in fourth, even United down where they are, a couple of good wins for them and they could push themselves back up. Spurs now as well. Anybody who can put together a run 5, 6, 7 wins in a row is going to be in the mix for the European places minimum. If you could pick one competition to win, which one would it be? So I probably differ to most people. I've always said Champions League is the one I'd pick each year going into it because I just love the European Cup. So for me, it's Champions League. I know for many others, it's Premier League, wanting to equal 20 with United. I totally get that as well. But I think if you win either of those two in any season, you're not going to be too sad. Craig, mate, other than Slot, who've won the league in their first season. So I think there was Marino, Conte, Avram Grant. I had this list last week. I'm trying to remember. There was 4 or 5 different Chelsea managers, I think, on it. So I think Mourinho did it. I think Antonio Conte did it. I'm sure there'll probably been a few more, but I can't think off the top of my head. Roy said, "Craig, I don't think we will sign a player in January because I'm used to FSG." Well, again, it's going to tell us a lot. Surely they see what we see. An opportunity. An opportunity to ram the knife home and stand on the throat of Manchester City. So I think going into this window, we should be working overtime to find this midfielder. Ancelotti as well. Yeah, there's a few in there. Look, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but let me say this to you. Would there be many more surprising winners in their first season than Arne Slot if he did it? Because thinking back, Conte came in with some expectation, had a terrible start, and if I remember that season correctly, we beat them 4-2 or something like that, and then Conte changed his formation after that, and Chelsea went on this unbelievable run, if I'm remembering that season correctly. Oh, I'm loving this, Sinister, mate. I'm loving this. Pep Guardiola. I'm loving it. Hold 4 for me, hold that. So we also had a bit of a laugh on our Disco group earlier on. You know the image in Scarface of Tony Montana sitting at the table with the big mountain of white powder in front of him? Well, we were thinking earlier on, we should really do up that image, change Tony Montana's face to David Koo and call it VAR face. So well done to Nick, by the way. Nick came up with that in our Discord group earlier on, and that's like peak dad joke stuff. So well in, Nick. So yeah, VAR face. Some day off, mate. You can't take a day off on days like today. Even Connor said to me, like, I said, sorry, Connor, I know you're putting up the Christmas tree at home and all, but we can't be having days off when things like this happen. And I think we proved right, because we had over, with what, 2,500 people in when we started the stream. So I think you don't need days off when life's like this. You just don't. When has FSG ever shown ambition? Well, look, I think my feelings there are pretty clear. But let's look at it another way, right? We didn't do much in the summer. You know, we didn't. So the availability is going to be there. And like I would say and have said, this feels like a time to put your foot on the accelerator. And whether it's the owners or whether it's Hughes and Edwards or whoever makes that decision, it's about making statements now to capitalise. So if you got the contract extensions done, if you got your player in the January window, then that goodwill, that vibe, that positive energy is going to push us on. The fan base will be re-energised and we'll feel invincible, we'll feel untouchable. So there is an opportunity for the owners now to really, I guess, what's the frame I'm looking for here? Intensify this good feeling. Contract extensions, a little bit of business in January, and Liverpool fans will be absolutely delighted. And even people like me will shut up. Craig, does Arna get the final say on transfers? Don't know, mate. Don't know. You know, I would imagine in most scenarios, it's a case of Hughes and Edwards or the recruitment team will whittle down some names and then present them to the manager. And if the manager is okay with the choices, maybe he says, well, this guy be the guy I'd like first. Or I would say he certainly has a big input, but not sure on the final say. I really don't know on that one. But you'd be weird undermining a manager bringing in a player who we didn't want. You know, so I don't think that would work. I feel like Slot has such good control on the team. You see it on the pitch. I really can't see how our form could possibly drop. Slot won't let it. I feel that way as well, mate. I feel like Arna will look at this now and think, okay, let's not get carried away. But there's no part of me at all that feels like every one of those Liverpool players and staff and coaches aren't given a bit of a fist pump at that one. So yeah, what was that you said, Craig? It's been a while since we looked at the photograph of Pep. Okay, no problem. There you go. We'll just leave it up there for a while because it's science and we're here to educate as well on Anfield Agenda. Heavy Metal D said, so Craig, how impressed have you been with your brother running Liverpool right now? Really impressed. And again, I'm going to reiterate, bald is better. There's only one hope Man City have now, and that's if Erling Haaland shaves his head. If Erling Haaland goes bald, they've got a chance. But, you know, I don't for 1 second believe that FSG didn't realise that they were harnessing the power of baldness when they brought in Arne Slot. They've thought to themselves, well, look, the most watched Liverpool fan channel on the planet's ran by a bald guy. So, clearly the most powerful, sexiest football club on the planet should be managed by a bald guy. So they went out there and they got the closest thing they could to me. It's sense. So yeah, definitely. Bald is the way. Craig, Lucho's going to cook Kyle Walker at Anfield. Walker's legs look done. As long as he doesn't get his Mickey out, we'll be fine. And I don't mean Lucho, I mean Walker, you know. Dream scenario, Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the Champions League final. We blitzed them 5-0 and we sent off for Trent. Look, I don't know what to expect in the Champions League, in all honest. We've got to make sure that we just do our part, stay in that top 8, and avoid the unnecessary 2 games in the playoff round. So if we can stay in that top 8, it definitely gives us a good platform to push on in the Champions League, because if I'm not mistaken, those teams in the top 8 not only avoid the round of 16 playoff, they also have a second leg at home in the round of 16. So, there are big advantages there for making sure that you do finish in that top 8. Man City need a decent player like Cole Palmer. I know. Do you know what's mad? That whole transfer is crazy, because every City fan I know, I remember speaking, and I've said this so many times, with Stephen McInerney, esteemed company. I remember speaking with Stephen 4 years ago, maybe more, maybe even 5 years ago, and speaking with him before we were filming an 888 shoot together, and we were chatting beforehand, and he was telling me about this youngster, Cole Palmer, that was coming through at Manchester City, and honestly, he knew this guy was there, and he knew how good he was going to be. And when I seen that he'd moved on from City last year, I was gobsmacked, because, he was that player coming through City's academy that all City fans knew was going to be legit, like without a doubt, an undeniable player. So yeah, absolutely astonished that they agreed to sell him. Adam said, did you see the Ireland game today? I was so impressed with the youngsters that played. The future so bright. I didn't. No, mate, I didn't. I did. Last I checked, it was 20-something-3 against Fiji, but I didn't even check the final score, to be honest with you. I don't know if I brought that up on screen for you or not, Adam, but I'm going to do it now, just to say thank you again, mate. So no, I didn't watch it, mate. I was doing a little bit of work for the channel, taking down some notes. I was also buying some frivolous shit in the Black Friday sales. I can't lie to you. What's your score prediction for the City game? I don't know. It's a difficult one to gauge right now, because my mind's saying you're going to see a backlash from City, but I also thought we'd see that today. Like, I'm going to be really, really honest, and coming into this game today, I thought City were going to absolutely destroy Spurs. I thought it was going to be 4 or 5-1, something like that. And they couldn't respond. And they couldn't live with Spurs. And that was a real eye-opener to me, because it wasn't an accident. It wasn't lucky. It wasn't that City got a man sent off. Spurs just picked them apart. Defended when they needed to. Attacked at pace with numbers. Scored some great goals. So yeah, I don't know what to expect from it, because I don't know what City's going to show up. I expect that they're going to be compact. I expect that they're going to be... I think they take the point right now, even though they have to go to try and win. So Mark sent me on something, 1 second. So Marino, Ancelotti, Pellegrini, and maybe Ranieri were the ones we were talking about winning leagues in their first season. Craig, if you had the chance in January to sign one player to seal the title, who would it be? Again, I'm sorry this is not a great answer, but it's an honest one. Whoever Arne Slot wants. So, to win the title, for me, it's the midfielder. Yeah, so I'm saying we need that midfielder. And whoever it is that Arne wants, that's the guy. Who would you say is the youngster with the brightest future at Liverpool? It's hard not to look past Jadon Sancho, because the kid really looks like the real deal. Looks like he's going to be able to handle the pressure. Signed that deal with Adidas, which is a real statement from Adidas as well. Yeah, I think him. It was Maddison's birthday. It was, yes. It was his birthday today. And what a performance he put in. Rio's going to be interesting. Trainee only is going to be a baller as well. Look, as I've said, the future is bright there. So whether you're saying Rio, whether you're saying trainee only, whether you're saying Jadon Dans, all valid, and all very, very good talents that the club have done well to bring in. Now it's about making sure the timing's right for the pathway through. I see a lot of people in the chat feeling like maybe we could do with an attacker in January. I still stand over what I say. I don't see the space in this group for an attacker. When Jota gets back and Chiesa is back, that's 6 for 3 positions. Even one of them being out with an injury still gives us enough manoeuvrability there. And we aren't overly reliant at the moment on one goal scorer either. So, look, Mo's still the talisman, but I just feel like goals are being shared around. Team looks better balanced. I'm just feeling more... I'm feeling less likely that we're going to see any type of capitulation or shock performances. Might drop points here or there, but overall I think we're showing some good consistency. Adam Brown, how are you, bro? Said City's transfer business still baffles me. Selling Alvarez and Palmer and then signing some inconsistent players. I wonder if they get a bit cocky and think that basically whatever they touch can turn to gold. Like, this is Pep Guardiola's most challenging time at Manchester City in my eyes, because the deck's finally, for the first time, starting to look a bit stacked against them. Injuries are costing them. It looks like they need somewhat of a rebuild. Defensively, they did not look great today at all. Not at all. The midfield looked a shadow of itself. Jack said, glad to see you live, Craig. Sky Broadband is down for me, so I'm using data to tune in. Well, thank you for being here with us, mate. I've had some issues with Sky Broadband as well. We're still waiting for a new box to be put outside of our house, but so far so good, thankfully. Do you think City play badly on purpose so they get a lighter punishment? No. If anything, I would say the more vulnerable City look, the other way, less daunting to make these things stick. But look, I don't think results on the pitch are going to influence that one bit, no. Do you think Canade should be rested until next Sunday with Gomez instead? No. You can make an argument maybe for playing Joe at right back if you're not feeling that Bradley's ready to go, but no, I wouldn't be resting him up. Not at all. Put your best foot forward and let Ibu cook. How's Bajcetic getting on? Is his future bright? They're not getting on great. I think they were beaten twice again this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pep Linders gets sacked soon. So yeah, not the great season that Salzburg fans would have wanted, but again, I don't think I'm overly concerned about it impacting Bajcetic, because the whole goal there was just for him to get some game time and get minutes. The results are kind of irrelevant to us. Canade on a yellow. I think that's Champions League, mate. I think I made the same mistake as well. I'm open to be corrected, but I think it's just Alexis McAllister who's one Premier League booking away from a suspension. I think for Ibu, it's the Champions League that he's walking that tightrope in. Sorry, just saying something that Mark sent me here. Man United are keeping tabs on Nuno Mendes. They've also discussed Alphonso Davies and Milos Kerkez. Look, if Kerkez has anything about him and he's got an option to go to Liverpool or Man United, it should be a very easy decision for him based off what we're seeing. What was this other thing, actually? So Manchester City are the first reigning top-flight champions to lose 5 games in a row in all competitions since Chelsea in March 1956. It is astonishing. I honestly never thought I would see a time in Pep Guardiola's reign where they lost 5 games in a row across multiple competitions. Never thought I'd see that. But yeah, first time for reigning top flight champions to lose 5 in a row in all competitions since Chelsea in March '56. Wow. Adam, who's the most underrated player we have? Do you want my honest answer to that? Darwin. I think he's still underrated. I'm not saying that he's reached peak Darwin or peak performance, but I still think he's underrated by many. On top of Darwin, I'd say underrated is a difficult one, like, because who are we talking? Who's underrating them? I'm going to say Darwin, but on top of that, maybe, I don't know. I struggle after that because I think Jones is getting the credit he deserves. Gravenberch's absolutely getting the credit he deserves. Maybe Salah at a push, but for me, a lot of people who aren't even giving him credit for some improvement in performances. Gakpo could be a good shout as well, by the way. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I think I've gone off for a second there. So just refresh real quick. It froze for a second, yeah. It did freeze for a second. It should be back though. So apologies on that one. It definitely it glitched on my end for a second. So Rachel said, I've closed the swimming pool for the winter. Well, thanks for spoiling the party, Rachel. So I can't come round then for the swimming pool. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to come round and you and James can make me coffee then. That'll have to do. But thank you, Rachel, for your 15 months with us as a member as well. So anyone that's frozen for, just refresh. It glitched for a second. It should be still good. Let me just check on my end. Yeah, it's back on my end anyway, so just refresh if it did freeze there for a second. El Harvo said, for me it's Szoboszlai. His link-up play has been brilliant so far, but because he isn't the final pass or wasting shots, he's been overlooked. Burnham Bean said, Craig, that City game was one of the best hate watches I've ever had in a while. Beautiful. Hope the boys can do their job tomorrow. I like that phrase, hate watch. Yes, hate watch. It was glorious. And as everyone went in, the smile on my face got bigger and bigger. Michael said Salzburg won today. Somebody just shared the last 2 results in our Discord earlier, mate, and maybe it was from the 2 games previously. I think they were against who was it that won the league last year in Austria? One of the Viennas or something, was it? I don't know. They lost two games before that anyway, and they haven't had a great season so far under Pep Linders. So yeah, I think he's not going to last too long by the looks of it. Maybe Jurgen can keep him safe for a while. Last Glints, there you go. That was Sturm Graz were the title winners. That was the one. Yeah, so Sturm Graz, not Grants, not a load of Grants. Moses said, why does Szoboszlai divide opinion? He has the highest potential if he puts it all together. I think for that very reason you've mentioned, mate, it's about putting it together. And I agree with you. He has all the tools to be our Luka Modric. No, that's McAllister. Our regenerated Stevie G lookalike then. Let's go with that. He's everything he needs. Yarosh was loaned to them, remember? Yes, they won the double, if I remember correctly, Chop, when Yarosh was there. Ten Lasso's middle name is Guardiola. But at least one club in Manchester, did the decent thing and, put Ten Lasso out of his misery. I don't think we'll be talking about Pep Guardiola. I'd say he's absolutely fuming, though. Like, I would love a penny for Pep Guardiola's thoughts at the minute, because he must be gobsmacked that that game today went that way. Because as I mentioned at the start of the stream, you had Rodri there parading his Ballon d'Or around. You had the news about Pep Guardiola's contract extension. You know, it was party time at the Etihad today, but the players didn't get the memo, and Spurs didn't get the memo. And yeah, it was beautiful to just watch it all capitulate. Stephen said, Craig, didn't you underrate Costas a few matches ago? So, no. If anything, Costas isn't good enough. Let's be frank about this. All the debate at the moment is that he's challenging Robbo and it's a 50-50 because Robbo's been poor. But Costas has done well this season, and I've said well done to him for that. But he's not good enough. Like, let's call a spade here. He's not good enough. And we should be looking to improve on the left. But fair play to him for stepping up this season, and he hasn't let us down when he's been called upon. But, you know, let's not lose track of ourselves. He's still not good enough. I'm an Arsenal fan, so you think we can challenge this year? I think City will drop off. It could be Liverpool versus Arsenal. Thoughts? So I did mention earlier on, Val, that I would say Arsenal will be the ones pushing us closest, or they're alongside us. Still have a bit of a gap to make up because, you know, you've had a bit of a mixed start to the season. Today looked like Arsenal were back at it. Odegaard looked like he made a big difference there again. So I think don't sleep on Chelsea either, because, you know, they're quietly going about their business. But like you, Val, I definitely do feel this is not the same Manchester City as we've seen in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. They just look like they're out of ideas. They're out of energy. They just don't look it. And it almost feels like some parts of the media still are in this land of delusion where they think this is the same City team. It isn't. And again, today, the narrative all week was that they were going to come out and start the siege mentality. You know, no, everybody hates us, but we don't care. Well, they capitulated at home to Spurs. And the week Pep Guardiola signed a new deal. On the week Rodri was there parading his Ballon d'Or. So yeah, I agree, Val, they're not the same. Adam said, it's crazy to think at the end of next week we could be 11 points clear of City. You know, even worst case scenario, mate, we'd be 5 points clear of them and 6 clear of Arsenal if we won tomorrow, and if we lost that game, if we drew that game again. For me, if we just don't lose against City next week, that's it for me. I'm fully on board that we're winning the league train. Because remember, we've already been to the Emirates to take on Arsenal. So they've got to come to Anfield, which isn't going to be easy. City will play twice, obviously once next week and then still to go. But outside of that, I don't see a capitulation from us. Enough to start closing 5, 6, 7 point gaps. Unless injury catch us. And that is a worry, which is why many of us are feeling like we've got to make sure we try to do something in January. So it is Maka and Kanade who need to be careful in the Champions League, but it is just Maka in the league that I'm aware of that has a 1 game ban pending if he gets a yellow. Craig, do you still feel City will end up going on an unbeaten streak, or do you feel this season is different? Look, they're capable of putting together a run of games, of course. You know, they're still a good team. They're not showing it at the minute. They've no midfield anchor in there with no Kovacic either, no Rodri. But they are still a decent team. And as much as we're laughing at City today, it's important that we give credit to Spurs for a great performance as well. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if City knocked off 7, 8, 9 games in a row. But I still think if they do that, we'll knock off 7 or 8 in a row ourselves and maybe drop a point here or there. They keep saying we haven't been tested. They keep saying City are going to come back. They keep saying it, but it's not happening. So at what point is it, you know, we're going to get called delusional, right? As fans, for dreaming and thinking. At what point do we fairly flip this around and say to the media and the journalists, it's not us that are being delusional, it's you. Because you want City to come back, but there's no signs of it. Like today, and I keep coming back to this, today was a day where City were supposed to come out and show the world it's two fingers to the rest of you. It's us against the world. Pep's here for 2 more years. We've got the best player in the world in midfield. And we're going to answer the critics. That was what this game was supposed to be about. And it wasn't. Because their fans were vacating the stadium. Spurs absolutely ripped them to shreds. It was glorious. You know, and I'm just sick of this hype machine around all things City. This pretense that they're actually a well-supported club and all the other crap that people try to make us believe, but our real-world experience doesn't back it up. So this, for me, as the title of the stream says, feels like a massive, massive dose of karma that's only starting to come around. And I have been waiting for this downfall in every sense of the word from City for years. Years. The amount of shit I take for what I say about Manchester City from people who, in my eyes, just don't care about football. Because I don't see how anybody, no matter who you support, can look at this Manchester City team and not feel like they've stuck 2 fingers up in the way they've ran that club to the rest of the English game. And not feel like they're trying to destroy the Premier League. I don't get it. Everybody, in my eyes, that professes to care about the game should be despising everything that this Manchester City group, that this Manchester City ownership structure, everything about them deserves to be shunned because it's horrible. It's horrible. Burn and Bean said the absolute best part is Pep saying that they would be back after the international break just for them to have their worst loss so far. Yep. Exactly. As I said, this was supposed to be their announcement that they're not giving up. They're fighting back. Them siege mentality. I even heard people on Sky Sports back pages last night. I think it was Ian Ladyman and I can't remember the name of the lady that was on there. I think she's from TalkSport. And he was basically saying that what he's seen this week from Guardiola was Sir Alex Ferguson-esque. You know, creating that siege mentality that we don't care, we have each other and fuck the rest of you. How does that work out? Again, I don't... These journalists, man, they're doing my head in lately. My favourite part of today's game was De Bruyne started the scrap today at the end of the game, and the commentator goes, Man City defiant, protecting their territory. Well, they're 4-0 down. Yeah, it's important though, Ken. One thing, mate, that we do have to say here to Manchester City, of course, and all of them, stay humble. Stay humble. That's what it's about. Stay humble. What's your thoughts on the De Bruyne and Sarr fight? Look, petulance is my thoughts on it. Again, a sign that things aren't stable. We had Bernardo Silva come out a while ago and say it's a dark time at Manchester City. Good, enjoy it. And I hope Arsenal fans enjoyed today, and I hope Chelsea fans enjoyed today, and I hope United fans enjoyed today, and I hope everyone that cares about football enjoyed today. Because after what we've been having rammed down our throats over the last few days with Guardiola selling an extension and everybody just writing the death warrant to anybody else's Premier League challenges, I feel vindicated today. I feel football's vindicated. Dino18 said, Gary Neville not celebrating City's loss because he knew Liverpool's gain. Did you not hear the pain in his voice, mate? I did. It was glorious. I have to watch the games with the commentators off. Insanely annoying listening to them jerk off City. I know. And do you know what the thing is? They all say that they love the sport. And yet, nowhere near enough talk about the charges. Every time they mention anything positive about Manchester City, anything, it should be caveated with they might be the biggest cheats that English football have ever seen. And they don't. It's almost like they're afraid to. Do you know what disgusted me last night, by the way? And I sent this to the Discord group and I sent it to Connor. I turned on Sky Sports News last night to be met with an intro from their presenter that said, Conor McGregor loses assault charge in Dublin High Court. No, he didn't. He lost a sexual assault charge in Dublin High Court. But they didn't mention that in the intro. It was an assault charge. It's like they're such pussies that they won't even call things right that we see in front of our eyes. How can you jerk off City constantly and not talk about the charges? Like, potentially the biggest scandal in English football history. And they just continue to ignore it. I cannot comprehend how anybody says they love the game and they want what's best for the game and then does that. You should be disgusted at the possibility of that having happened. Strong team tomorrow. Stuff the Madrid game. Steamroll Cheedy next week, said Morton. You said McGregor didn't do it though. So I didn't say he did or didn't, Martin. You know, I'm not here to judge Conor McGregor. A court is there to make that decision. Everybody is entitled to full legal ramifications to play out. McGregor's entitled to appeal, and I'm not saying one or the other. But what I'm saying is, Sky's reporting on it was cowardly. They said it was an assault charge. It wasn't. It was a sexual assault charge. And let's not undermine the whole situation by not talking about it properly. And mate, I'm not here to say whether McGregor didn't do it. Court's there to decide that, not me. You know, I'm somebody who's a normal fella going about my life. And again, Martin, you were obviously a little McGregor fanboy who wants to blow smoke up his hole. But stop putting words in my mouth. I never once slammed him. Never once. Because it's not my place to judge people. It's the courts. So, I never said one fucking word against McGregor. Not one. You just came in on the defensive. And then tried to pin your frustration on me. I was having a dig at Sky and their coverage of it. Not at McGregor, not at the lady in the case, none of it. Because it's not my place to figure that out. I wasn't in the courtroom and I don't know the ins and outs of it. I followed it as best as I could. But ultimately it wasn't me who made the decisions. I'm calling out Sky. And this is a follow-on from other stuff I've been calling Sky out on. Because I think that they're cowardly in their reporting, and they're trying to tell the rest of us about removing hate from the world, misogyny from the world, standing up for what's right, and they won't do bare decent things. The David Koo video is another great example. How many days had that Koo video been out and they were still saying allegedly David Koo in the video? Allegedly a video of David Koo. Everybody else, it had been verified and they were still saying allegedly. It's just, it does my head in. If you want to try and be the bastions of morality and tell the rest of us how to feel, do your fucking job. And Martin, you really feel like an apologist. Now, one thing I'm going to say to you here, Martin, is my mother was sexually assaulted and raped. And her perpetrator got off with a loophole in the law. So this is a very emotive subject for me. And I'm trying my best to be respectful of you because I don't know you. The situation because I'm not involved in it. But I'm also fed up of the undermining of the legal system and the undermining of the victims. It was decided in a court, mate. The evidence was presented from both sides. And a jury of his peers made their decision and awarded what they awarded. My feelings on it are irrelevant. But, you know, it is a subject close to my heart, as I've said, because of what happened with my own mother. What's the latest with David Koo? So, there was a statement put out the other day from the PGMOL that said they're still Actually, you know what? I think I have the statement. I should be able to read it to you. 1 second, mate. 1 sec. I have it here somewhere from the last couple of days. Yeah, so they put out a statement on Thursday and it said, we are following an internal process and taking the allegations into David Coote's conduct very seriously as part of our ongoing full and thorough investigation. Whilst David remains suspended, his welfare continues to be important to us and he's aware of the support network available to him. So, like I've always said, in these situations, we as fans feel annoyed. But obviously, there is a human side to this as well. And I don't know David Coote's personal situation, but I've no doubt this has been a very difficult time for him, even if it is self-inflicted. So it was good to see the PGMOL at least talk about the support networks there. Don't bite, Craig. Keep your head high. It's just, to me, Michael, it's just a symptom of society at the minute. More victim blaming, more lack of education around what consent actually is, you know. And I have a daughter myself, and I'm very fortunate that she's gone out with a wonderful fella, like absolute gentleman of a lad. But yeah, I just think the whole society at the minute, it worries me. I think people are being influenced by the wrong type of people, and it feels like, again, we don't think famous people can do anything wrong. You know, it's sad. But anyway, look, it is what it is. I brought it up only because of the Sky thing. You know, the case, as I said, isn't for me to talk about. The PGMOL are still investigating. They're having a party to look into it further. They're trying to organise one, yeah. It's a race against time to get the bookings. The worst is that to be rough against Man City, Liverpool for the next week. I don't know what that means. It's a civil case. Yes, it is. Still doesn't change anything. I did mention to you, yes, it's a civil case. And again, there is no possibility of a prison sentence in a civil case. I explained it all yesterday as best as I could for people who aren't aware of the legal system in Ireland and whatnot. Anyway. Apparently, can't read that out either. It's Akeem from Jamaica. Akeem, how are you, bro? Welcome in. I hope you've come in to join the gloating party, mate, because all aboard. HMS Pista League. Do you know what I do feel like? And I want some suggestions. If Arne Slot does it in his first season, I feel like I need a tattoo to commemorate the tremendous achievement. So, yeah, I'm getting my thinking cap on for what I think a 4-4 tune style tattoo of me and Arne Slot, one arm each on the Premier League trophy, is where I'm at. I mean, getting myself tattooed on myself feels a bit weird, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. Hoarder, thank you, mate, for gifting an Anfield Agenda membership. Very kind of you. Go buying to Craig, you're a legend. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your support. 24-hour stream when we win the league. I don't have a 24-hour stream in me, mate. Honestly, I don't have that energy for 24 hours. So I do want to just point you to the top of the chat for a second, ladies and gentlemen, because as I mentioned earlier on, at the moment we're trying to highlight a Just Giving page that a gentleman called Joe has started. Joe is trying to raise £5,500 to buy a wheelchair basketball chair, and Joe works with youths. He works as a youth worker in pastoral care as well, and he's trying to raise this money, and we want to help him along. So if you were maybe thinking of sending a super chat or anything like that, right throughout the month of December as well, we're going to try and help Joe get to that target, because Joe's out there in the world helping young people. Even with his cerebral palsy, isn't staying in. He's pushing himself. He's trying to stay fit. He's trying to be active. He's trying to be a good influence. And I feel like these are exactly the type of human beings that we should be getting behind here in our community. And if you can, and of course we'll be making a donation to it ourselves, but we're going to leave that every live stream, every late night agenda between now and the end of December, or until we hit that target for Joe. We're going to keep trying to highlight it. How can we send Joe money for it? Click the link. The link takes you to the Just Giving page, mate, and you can donate to it there. That's why we put the direct link in, because we do want people to go, if they're going to donate, and do it directly. Let's check in on the poll though, shall we? So we asked you guys, and we've nearly had 3,000 votes, by the way, so if you haven't voted, please do. Who will be Liverpool's nearest title contenders this season? Man City, Arsenal or Chelsea? And it's flipped around, by the way, as the stream has gone on. Earlier on, Arsenal were ahead. Now it's City. But there is still time to vote, so we'll leave that running for the next few minutes while we finish the stream. Love you, Craig. Any more shows in Ireland? Always open to them, mate. Just won't be in Dublin because it's too expensive. So, yeah, there's every possibility we come back up to Belfast. Certainly a possibility of a Cork or maybe Galway, somewhere around there. I'm absolutely certain we'll be back in Liverpool before the end of the season as well for another live show over there. Hopefully celebrating what's looking to be a great season. So, yeah, I'm trying to start to plan ahead now for them. Now that I know I'm staying on and I'm not, quitting in May or anything, I'm trying to look ahead. It's just sometimes about finding the right venue, which is the hardest part of all of it. What have we got? Persian Pride said, I'm one of the Liverpool supporters who said Slot was the wrong manager. I have to apologise to the fans. I was wrong. You know what, my man? Understandable, And it takes, as I've always said, even about myself or whatever, it takes a good person to admit and put their hands up when they were wrong. And I've always been, this is one of the few things I was probably right on, because I've been critical of some other signings or unsure about players who've turned it around and proven me to look like an idiot. But on Arne Slot from day one, I've always had a good feeling about him. Maybe it's because I spent quite a lot of time researching him for videos and stuff like that. And every time I hear him speak, he just reassures me. I feel like he is exactly the right man at exactly the right moment for us. So yeah, nothing to apologise for, my man. Just enjoy the journey. Christine said, Craig, for your tattoo, how about a slot machine? 3 winning symbols being Premier League trophies. Ooh. Oh, I like that. That's well played, Christine. I like that. Yeah, I could probably jazz that up a little bit as well with me pulling it. Maybe the handle of the slot machine could be Arne Slot's head. I like it. I like where you're going with that one. Just back from the pub, Craig. It's a good night up the pool. Oh, Dave. What a night, mate. What a night. Saturday as well. Still the Reds to play tomorrow as well. So, yeah, I'm buzzing, mate. Buzzing. Can't wait for tomorrow. Can't wait to... Well, do you know what? I'm going to be honest. The wife went to the butcher's today. Came back with 2 fillet steaks. So, fillet steak, mashed potatoes, Yorkshire puddings are on the way for dinner. Liverpool could be marching 8 points clear, top of the league tomorrow. Life's good. Life's good. What are your thoughts on Chelsea this year? They're looking decent. Yeah, they're looking like they're genuine. They're the real deal. I don't know how their season pans out. You'd expect them to win the Conference League at a canter. But other than that, yeah, I certainly feel like they will be most likely to join Liverpool and Man City and Arsenal in the Champions League. Tattoo broccoli on your nipples to celebrate. No, Fergal. Can't be doing that. Oh no, God. Even just thinking about that pain, mate. Even just thinking about it. Haaland is the Norwegian Rapunzel. He needs to shave his head. It's the only chance City have. If they haven't learned anything from going bald being the way forward, Haaland has to shave his head. It's the only chance City have now. Right, I'm going to say goodnight to you all, by the way, because I wasn't supposed to be working today, and my wife's been very understanding of the situation. So we're going to end this poll now. We need 60 more votes to get us up to 3,000. So if you haven't voted, please do. We'll try and get that poll up to 3,000. Also, a couple of things. Don't forget to hit that like button for me before you head off. If you haven't subscribed, please do as well. And tomorrow, just to let you guys know, we'll be starting the stream at 12:45 tomorrow, an hour and 50 minutes before kickoff. So we'll have our watch along, our match reaction, our player ratings, and then we'll be back tomorrow night for a late night agenda as well at 8:45. So lots of stuff coming up tomorrow. And yeah, look, we'll end this poll. I don't think we're going to quite get to the 3,000 votes. So you guys still believe Manchester City with 43% of the vote is the closest to Liverpool this season. Arsenal with 36, Chelsea with 20. So yeah, much love. Thank you to everyone. Appreciate you. Have yourselves a wonderful Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow for the match.